Let's call the meeting to order and do a roll call. Let me start here.
Moore here.
Freilinger here.
Gardner here.
Prendergast here.
Warren here.
All right. We're gonna welcome Grant Warren, new commissioner, first meeting. Anything you want to say about yourself? Just, okay, don't have to. That's fine. All right. Walt, are you on?
There we go. Hello.
Walt. So, Walt, we have a new commissioner to the group, Grant.
Welcome, Grant.
Well, thank you.
Walt is the city planner that we contract with.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with public comment. First up, Robert. Would you like? You signed up. I didn't know if you actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't check to speak.
I was trying to debate whether I had anything relevant to say or not, so I'll pass. Thank
Okay.
you.
Rocky?
My understanding is that this planning commission has not met for perhaps 2 months, 3 months. I'm not sure, but you haven't met regularly for at least 1 or 2 months. Would that be correct?
1 month.
One month.
1 month. Okay. The planning commission is such a very important part of the city operation, such a very important part. It is so fundamental to everything. So anything that has to do with land use and planning of any kind, each of you are the first line of folks that deal with it. And so, my humble opinion is there are no days off. Every time that there is a meeting date, which is once a month, according to, it's either the city charter and or the municipal code. I would just encourage you, never pass up an opportunity to meet, because you have such a widespread of comprehensive business for you to conduct. And it truly is important. And the more familiar you are with it, naturally, the better things will flow. And you personally will feel much more comfortable with all of your accomplishments. I would suggest that if you do not have, always during a meeting, always have either the information regarding the planning commission from the charter, know that information. Included with that would be the municipal code and the comprehensive plan. This is the fundamentals of everything that you work with. And always remember that all of the rules, all of the codes, everything can be changed if it does not meet your sincere desire because of your experience and what you found, that maybe if it were changed to at least maybe some degree, that it would work better. And so since you are not only a planning commission, but you are also a citizens advisory committee, your allegiance is to the citizens of Yamhill. That's who your allegiance is to. And so that means, and not to be offensive, because that is not my intent. I just make that statement because you could have the mayor, you could have any member of the city council suggest to you that you might lean in this direction or that direction. No one has the right to lean on you. Your responsibility is to look always at the facts, and you make your decision and you base it on facts. You base it on what is right. And what is right in the mind of many people might be somewhat different. But by sufficient amount of applying yourself you will come to the proper decision. I'm supposed to have 5 minutes. Am I already at 5?
Time is up.
That was pretty classy, Rocky. That was like the music they play at the Oscars when you're gone. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, the music.
Yeah, the music went off
Yeah.
was your
Okay.
warning.
Okay. Okay, and then as I'm taking my seat, you've got to identify the transportation safety plan. My suggestion is you get in touch with the city to the south, Carlton, and ODOT, and well, anyway, you get in touch with those folks as you look at the strategic planning of the transportation system plan. Because you want and need cooperation, and to know what they are attempting to do and what you're attempting to do, somewhere in the middle, you're gonna have the best results. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Rocky. All right. Next agenda, presentations. We don't have any presentations. Public hearing, we don't have one. So other business. Real point of order real quick. Do we ever have a roundtable time? Are we allowed to have a roundtable time?
Basically what you would have would be a work session. I mean, you are always welcome to discuss things amongst yourself. You can only make decisions with a formal motion or application, but in fact, this would be a very good example of looking at the historic issues here. I just put a memo together that just outlines some of the issues you may be facing, and you are welcome to converse amongst yourself. This is basically approaching a citywide issue that you are, as Rocky said, you're kind of the starting point.
Yep. Okay. So I just had a discussion question that can come after the other business around kind of approvals and how we get informed about things. I had a situation in town. Somebody asked me about it. I have no clue. It seems like something that we might have some input on, and I just want to have the discussion. My guess is it was approved by the city, that with the new rules, it was approved by the city, but I don't know for sure.
Well, to be honest with you, I have not looked at an application since we've adopted the revised code.
Okay.
Nothing has come in. There's been some discussion, but no formal app.
I didn't think it would be approved, but I didn't know if I didn't know something. So, well, we could discuss it anyway, because we might get asked about it. I would expect to get asked. I got asked.
Are we gonna find out what it is?
So on the corner of Elm and Main, an it looks to me like a very large ADU has been installed. And it looks like it could be qualified as a park RV, but it is a mini home. And it is right up against property line. It's squeezed in between the house and the property line, and it's very large, and they're putting it on a foundation or pillars.
Really?
Yeah, so with the new revised, I didn't know, I know that the state has loosened up the approval process.
Yep.
And I didn't know if that was falling into that category.
And I could categorically say no. The question was given to me, and now you brought it up. The question the mayor asked me, and I looked at the code, and it was very clear that that cannot be used as ADU.
Okay.
Period. I mean, the code is very clear in that. So that was placed on the property without any prior
I
city
kind of wondered,
involvement.
previously there was a very small travel trailer park there.
Right.
And there was stuff up that made it look like somebody was living in it. I looked the other way, it's somebody's property, but this was a very large structure.
I know who you're talking about. I just saw that on Facebook.
Oh, did you?
I know who it is.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to ask the question. I know you do the enforcement of stuff. So I did.
I haven't received any complaints regarding it, although a lot of people have asked. No
Okay.
one's made a formal complaint.
Okay,
Did
Alright.
it come in on wheels?
yes.
Yeah, it's like
Sewer
it's
hookup?
It's
My
like,
understanding is still on
It's-
wheels.
it's a-
Gotta remain on
No,
wheels.
the
like a
wheels are
park
up
model.
off the wheels.
Oh, they.
it's like a park model.
Okay.
Model.
It's,
Okay.
it's,
It is a park model.
looks like a home, but it's a mini home, mini
And
park
they're
model.
putting it on cinder block pedestals that are
Right.
probably that high, which made me question whether it was safe.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, then you're talking railings and, yeah, steps.
Well, I was
you have
thinking
to-
stability.
Wow.
Yeah, so
All trailers are on cinder blocks like that.
on pillared cylinder blocks, it's, I guess I was
You
thinking.
got two wedges on the top to level it.
Yeah.
They do tie downs and stuff.
And then you
That
do,
does seem
yeah,
very
you gotta
You
do tie
downs,
downs.
Wind and stuff, so it's,
They have a step ladder to get into it at the moment. Last time I went.
okay.
Wow.
Anyway, that was just a question I had. I didn't know what the process was. All right, so let's discuss the Historic District Program. So Walt, are you gonna speak to that?
Sure, I'll provide some background information here. In your packet, I put a lot of information this time around. I think we touched base on this last October. And instead of just sort of, hi, why don't you go to the website? I thought I'd have everything printed out so you have a hard copy in front of you. But it was Mayor asked, could I look at this issue again of certified local government historic district? And there's a variety of ways of looking at historic districts, but the state has a category for a local government sort of community-based historic district. To begin with, I have attached to this a memo related to how this district gets put together. You need to have a preservation commission, and the commission members need to have some sort of professional standing. You have to have a preservation ordinance, and I included a sort of the model ordinance that the state uses, although there is some flexibility on how it's put together. You have to agree to participate and work with the state on updating historic information. When it comes to National Register or historic places, the historic committee needs to be the effective body to do that. And finally, you simply agree as part of this package that you will actively enforce state law with regard to historic structures. Now, I discussed this matter with Curry Gill at SHPO, or the State Historic Preservation Office, and she indicated that this is not a simple process. I mean, this is not something you just kind of throw together and call it a day. You really need to have that formal commission organization. That is really critical to the success, and also is simply a requirement. You will also need your professional survey. And then again, obviously, the third part is to adopt the ordinance. Once this is adopted, the city is responsible for that program. Ms. Gill also made it very clear that local property owner buy-in is really critical, but they will help the city wherever they can in terms of putting together an ordinance that sort of meets our needs specifically. The one thing I do want to note is that quite often when people mention historic structures, they start thinking of you can't change a doorknob unless it meets some sort of, criteria. That is not the case. The only thing that historic at this juncture looks at is really the facade. So in other words, if it's a certain style, design of facade, that basically will need to be maintained, can be enhanced, and that's one of the reasons you have a committee. They understand what enhancements may or may not work for a particular style of building. I posed a couple of questions for the commission to consider. And again, this may be very good for you to do a discussion with. What are the potential benefits? Do you have a historic district that's sufficient to attract folks to Yamhill? Will it encourage new businesses? And is it, again, significantly historic to support such a designation. The council has to be active in creating the commission. And I think it's also important for the council to understand requirements and be willing to support the endeavor. Are there qualified individuals in the community or within the immediate region, if you will, to help out? And whether or not there is sufficient time, resources, and community commitment to actually proceed. However, there are benefits to this program. If you put some together and there needs to be, say, a building repainted or maybe windows replaced, there are small grants that can help a property owner out to go ahead and facade upkeep, if you will. At this juncture, you're not voting on whether or not you should have it. You're not really adopting an ordinance, if you will. But I think it's important for the city council to know whether or not the planning commission would be supportive of this measure. At that point, it may be possible to obtain some grants to help us put the project together. And I also talked again to Curry, and she said she'd be happy to go in front of the council, a Zoom meeting in April, just to kind of walk the city council through it. At this juncture, again, there's no particular decision to be made, but I would say that I think it would be an important step to at least try to get something in place. And I think it has the potential to bring the community together, provide a little context for the city's history, and at least, encourage the city council to take the next steps. But again, I think the key here is going to be the committee, the historic committee, and which folks are available, or if there are any people available to be part of that committee. So, as I said, I think this juncture, it's worthy of discussion. And based on your comments, I will put together a brief memo for the city council noting kind of planning commission's issues, concerns, or support. And with that, I'd also be happy to answer any questions you may have. I'm not an expert on these things, but the state has been very helpful in sort of moving me along in understanding the details.
I have a question, Walt. So if there has to be a historic planning committee, who do they answer to, the council or the
Yes.
plan?
They answer to the council, and this is separate from the planning commission.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's an important component. They look at simply the historic aspects of it. Now, an interesting thing, the planning commission may well be involved and maybe looking at, hate to bring this up, but looking at the code again to look at sort of the downtown design features, or maybe no changes have to be made. So the planning commission does play an key part, integral part in this process, but it's the historical commission that actually kind of makes sure the city's on board and doing the right things.
okay.
I thought we could have a discussion, but is there any questions first before we do that? No. Okay, so I think Walt's 5 questions are good ones. Does anybody have any thoughts about benefits? What you see as a benefit of the historic district?
Well, I would say when I moved here in 2022, my funny story kind of sums up. I said, well, what is the theme of this town? Look at all these old buildings that I grew up with. I was born and raised here. But it just seems to be cars going through a town. Is there a theme that is celebrated or whatever. I know about Derby Day. And that has been consistent to the decade. And the answer I got from the person that I said that to was, the theme of Yamhill is just not Carlton.
Yeah, yeah.
There's truth. Yep. Anybody else have any thoughts?
Benefit wise, you know what, I like what we have, it does harken back and it's historic, and if somebody had an idea to knock over the old bank building and build something else, I think, well, I don't know about that. So I think there should be some more official things than just outcry after the wrecking ball happens.
Yeah,
That's the benefit. I think that's obvious. I'm stating the obvious.
yeah.
You mean that's the one that you can't use the upstairs for, that building? Is that a bank building? I know.
Pick your building that you wouldn't want to see.
Yeah, I don't want to see any of them.
The one that crossed from TNA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful building.
Is
It's a
it on the
beautiful building,
market?
But in order to freaking do anything with that building, you have to earthquake proof it.
Oh, yeah.
You have
it's
to put
massive.
millions into it.
Yeah.
And
It's too bad it's a
I
beautiful
mean,
building.
it's sitting there like it is for the reason anything can't be done because it has to be vastly
Yeah.
improved. And it's,
Is it on the market?
No, I think
No.
they have, no, they have,
I don't think so.
the first story has a for lease sign on it.
Oh,
There used to be a-
okay.
There used to be a little store in there and they closed.
Right, and there's still a tax accountant and something else.
the barber,
Barber shop,
Barber shop.
yeah.
Yeah, everything on.
everybody knows Walt.
So my thinking was originally when I came up with this was the theme, like
Mhm.
coming up with the standardized. And then the other was, would that provide potentially some grant funding?
Mhm.
This is significant, the amounts that we're talking here are pretty minor. It's not gonna help somebody like T&E to restore what was originally there.
Or earthquake proof the building.
Right, or earthquake proof a building. It's not gonna be able to do any of that.
And you're talking just the facade all looking the same, or you kind of,
No,
like they did
well-
in Sisters, I mean, Sisters is so, you know.
Well,
like that.
actually, I always think like T&E, I saw a picture of what it used to look like. And
Mhm.
it doesn't look like what it used to look
No,
like.
that's
So
true, yeah.
they could kind of bring it back to what it was originally, but that would cost, I think, would be a fortune.
Really.
Well, you can put a facade over the retrofitted facade that's come up over the years. And you simply put, it's like putting shrink wrap over the front.
The mask.
Yeah.
Like Grant says, if that building, Walt, let me ask, is there provision for, yeah, we want that corner building to look the same, and yeah, it's useless because you have to retrofit it and it's just not cost effective, we're just gonna build it again. So that the commission could say, well, yeah, go ahead and knock it down, but just make it look like that when you're done.
That's millions.
Yeah.
There are provisions, they recognize historic preservation recognizes some buildings are not going to be around. They're just too old, they're too expensive to retrofit. I mean, you raised one important issue is earthquake. My experience in Lebanon was a lot of projects could not get off the ground due to those costs, and you have a lot of old time buildings on Main Street.
Is that
So
involved?
there are probably situations where, some buildings may eventually go because they're just cannot be saved.
And how many buildings do we have in this town?
Right. Well, and we've talked about, so the other angle of this is we've talked about coming up with guidelines for the downtown core for new construction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That might be the better avenue to go if we want a standardized look and feel of town. Then if discussion of the gas station discussion was part of that, but those kinds of guidelines, what can we do to make it so that it has the look of the town heads the direction we want it to go?
Do we have that much available land in the downtown area?
No, it would be like if somebody tore
something-
down the bank.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
What kind of restrictions would we have on what they can do?
Because I have a question, if it's not, if that building is not earthquake proof and it's not up to code and everything, does that make the bottom floors not
No,
safe?
it's the
Or-
it's the
It's,
upper
it's the
floor.
upper
They-
structure or?
Well, they legally can't do anything with that building. They can't change anything with it unless they earthquake proof it and upgrade the building, which would cost a bloody
They've
fortune.
had people on the first floor, so I'm guessing they
Yeah.
got that approved.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between living in a building and just having a business in the building. I'm not sure about that as far as safety requirements. That maybe that's not even true. What will you think about that?
I don't know that you have the fire.
Yeah.
The fire
Fire codes.
systems in place, you know,
Yeah.
in that building, so.
One thing though, historic structures sometimes get, I don't want to say a pass, but they're a little bit more open to the modifications that will work and also meet code. I'd have to look at that a little bit more, but sometimes you're able to sort of, I don't want to say get around the rules, but work within the rules to still make a safe structure without going through, you know, checking every box.
You know, I'd like to echo what Sean said, like, take that first building past, the
lumber.
Pizza place.
the logging,
The logging company.
yeah. The next one over, you know, it has a certain look on the front, it's got a kind of Yamhill look. But the rest of it is, I don't care if that building, if the same 2x4s are in it, should I, from a historical preservation thing? I just want it to kind of look Yamhill when it's done, rather than preserve shingles and tin. Am I getting real excited about preserving that? No. But the look of, so it matches the town, doesn't look like, you know, the future.
A hodgepodge.
You know, or the seventies, or, you know, what we think is modern now in the 2000s. That's more of our interest, isn't it, than preserving the same bricks?
Actual building. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a-
Oh, but
I have a question about the bank building. I have only seen businesses here and along 47. There's more to the building than that. Has there ever been a business or a use on the first floor facing where all the weekend vendors are, you know, in the,
Granary building kind of.
yeah,
I
the,
don't think I've ever seen.
No.
that. I've never seen that.
I think
because
those
there's
buildings go all the
obviously,
way back, don't they?
yeah, there's obvious square footage. So what's in there or what could be in there if you only used one floor?
Building's not that wide.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
pretty
be
narrow
back
and
there.
long.
It's a narrow building.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think most of them have the depth. I think the tax ladies goes all the way back to the back wall of
Yeah.
the building.
okay.
So does
And so does the new store on the cent.
barber, but there's a
Yeah.
bathroom back there in one room.
Okay, that's what I was
No
trying
depth to the
to
buildings.
figure out the total space of what could be there and what is there.
So I think there's a general sense of questioning is, would there be a benefit to doing the historic thing or not? I think I like the idea of having a historic town.
Mm-hmm.
Liking the idea is different than making it a reality. That's my thought.
I've got another tech kind of discussion point, and that is, on the certified local government program requirements. The first one, establish historic preservation commission and appoint interested qualifications. Interested and qualified residents to serve to the extent that they are available, at least some. So that means one at least, or two, of the commissioners should meet professional qualifications. And then you turn the page to what professional qualifications are, which is the third page in the back of it. It lists them. And they're pretty, it's not just, you're not gonna
Average person.
pick this up because you just happen to wanna.
When they needed someone on the
You
commission.
gotta have a bachelor's degree for history, a bachelor's degree plus 2 years
Yeah.
or substantial research. For archaeology, graduate degree plus a year of full-time,
Yeah.
4 months of supervised. Okay, and then down to history, there's no easy pass here. 2 years of full-time experience in research plus your degree in history or substantial contribution through research and publication. You're a scholar. There's all these things.
So then are you have to pay these people?
That's right. That's right.
Could, yeah, is there anybody in town with that kind of
And then,
background?
and I could go on and on, but then backing up, not just the qualifications. Look at this thing called, the agreement, the 1 through 9. This is where you'd have to take people, someone that knows, has their head in the game with, that has a lot of knowledge.
To do a survey and.
The enforce, the maintain the review commission, maintain a system for the survey, maintain a process. That doesn't mean just set it up. That means you're looking at it.
Yep.
As you use it, provide for adequate public participation, call people in. That's more than, people get paid to do this.
Right.
Maintain adequate financial management systems. You're gonna have books. Adhere to all requirements. Who knows what they are? Adhere to any requirements by Congress. You've got to know what the requirement. You've got to have your head in this, and and some of the people have to be very qualified.
That was my next
So,
question.
Right.
Yeah. Now, that we haven't even talked about the money
Right.
to hire these
Yeah,
people.
because it would be it would be a paid position added to the city.
Maybe there's grants that pay for the person. It doesn't sound like the
Or
grants.
they write their own grant to pay themselves.
Well, actually, what you're looking at is committee members that are volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the head person seems like they're gonna have to be paid to keep books and maintain and invite the public and all that. That seems more than just a volunteer's job.
Someone within City Hall would be given that responsibility, correct?
So the commission, I mean, the city council would need to budget for that expansion of responsibilities.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
I'd like to add, I'd
Thank
like
you.
to know what Walt's take on this is, because you've been involved in the city for, past a lot of years. What is your take on this? How do you feel about this?
Well, boy, I tell you,
I guess I'm asking your
I
opinion.
think at this juncture, I think it would be nice to see what you have and whether or not it's worth pursuing. And I think it may be worth at least working through SHPO and seeing if we can, get a grad student out of, U of O or PSU or someplace that, hey, tell us about our historic structures. What do you think? And just kind of give us a starting point. If it turns out that it's not doable, then, you're right. There's a lot more to this than just having a bunch of people get together and kind of discuss historic structures. So it might be worth at least doing that. I think the bottom line, I think it's worth pursuing or at least taking the first step. If at that juncture, it just becomes, we just don't have the resources and anything really to work with, then at least we gave it a shot and the city can look at it down the road.
He said that twice. He said that before we had our discussion. He said we should at least try. He said it again, talk to SHPO, don't dismiss it out of hand, even though we have a lot of questions. So I think that's what we should
The
do.
direction to go.
So probably the next steps would be to have the lady from SHPO present to city council. And then see if we can get a grad student to
Wouldn't that be nice?
do their
Try it.
master's degree on Yamhill.
Ooh, that would be pretty interesting.
Well,
Actually, it could be a lot of fun for a history major. I will, if it's acceptable to the commission, I'm going to put all this material together for the city council, but take the memo and expand upon it a little bit, talking about our discussion and sort of the conclusion that, hey, we realize there might be barriers here or some issues, but we strongly recommend at least you take a first step and listen to SHPO and see where we could go. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, real good. And I'll be sure to prepare that for the council and do it that way. Thank you. This is good stuff and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, the next agenda item is an update on the transportation system plan. This is the one that was approved for ODOT to do a study, is that right?
Yes, and that's the good part is that since ODOT is doing it, they have a lot more flexibility than if it went through the transportation and growth management. That program is a combination of land conservation and development and ODOT. This is going to be more of an ODOT program. At this time, I put a note down here, and it's right at the back of my packet. Of course, I've been working with Brandon Williams at ODOT Region 2, and communication on Friday was, I am happy to report that I got your work order contract request started in our procurement system. So far, so good. So in other words, typically we're looking at the state government and you just don't cut a check, but they're going through to the procurement process to go ahead and send out the request for proposals. So there's a couple of steps in there, but the main thing is that the program is still on board. It is going to be focused with ODOT. They're going to select a consultant. They have a list of transportation specialists. I've worked with a couple that I really like, DKS especially, but that's their call to make, and they're going to have to go ahead and go through that process. And I have a meeting with him on Wednesday just to discuss some business issues. And I'm still pounding the table to say, it'd be really nice if we can get a letter from the state that says we are going to do a TSP. So that's the only thing I don't have. But believe me, we've been spending a lot of time on this. We worked through all the tasks. That took quite a bit of time, or a lot more than I thought. And but we are on our way. We will probably begin in May or June, and then we will go full tilt in the next fiscal year. And they're estimating that this program will be about 200 to 225,000.
And to some of the questions that Rocky brought up, is this going to account for a regional aspect of our neighboring communities, how they might impact us, or is it just very focused on our community only?
Well, let's see, look at it from the standpoint, you throw the pebble in the pond and it goes out. The same thing here. It's the focus is on Yamhill, safe streets to schools, Highway 47 as it goes through town, traffic counts, etc. But we also need to coordinate with Yamhill County, and they basically cover the surrounding communities. So I guess the bottom line, this is not going to be done in a vacuum, but it's going to focus on the city's interest in community needs.
Okay, good. That sounds good. Because I know a lot of the concern that people have raised is about the safety within our community, but I think it's good to keep in mind the broader picture as well.
Right.
You guys have any questions? I mean, we're just kind of going through the process of waiting for the grant to get moving.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad we got the grant so we get a specialist in here to give us some good data.
Boy, howdy.
All right. So our next meeting in April is April. What is the April? Oh, I gotta update my little chart here. What is the third?
20th.
April 20th?
That is an Easter. No, never mind.
Okay. And the city council is the week before that, right?
So it would be the 8th. Wait, second Wednesday. Yeah, the 8th.
Okay.
So we'll be able to get maybe some little feedback about the historic district, hear what they have to say about at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else before we adjourn? All right. I have a motion, unless there's something I'm forgetting. Second.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay, second,
Well, they got.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Is the eighth, the date?
No, the 20th.
20th,
Twentieth.
the 8th is the council.
Good. I'll be back.